It's round 9. We've got 7 teams to go through. We've got 3 big questions covering a lot of players and what to do heading into the buys. So, hope you enjoy this one. We got a team here that said he survived the host debacle, still scored 887, had Harry Grant as captain, so that was nice, with 77, and rose some ranks into 4,300. Could have been even better if he got the cheese, but he's still having issues down below with Alamotti and Warbrick, so yeah, wing fullback and centre still a concern with that, but thank God for Manu and Bird. Warbrick 100% needs to go, 80% sure selling Alamotti. Unfortunately, it doesn't generate a lot of cash, so I'm wondering, should I do the unthinkable and trade Captain Grant? Okay, so with this squad here, you're looking at having 3 guys on a bye, which, Lioro, Grant, and also Warbrick. You do have some cover in the wing fullbacks. You could play Cam Pereira, which, not ideal, but would be fine. You obviously have Boydie as your hooking cover, but he's also, and Crossland eventually, but, you can't rely on Boydie forever. Round 13 is something you got to think about with Boydie being out as well. So if you keep Grant, Warbrick, Alamotti, AKP to Lemuelu, Drinky, Buller. Cons, no cheese, no JDB, Drinky, Risk. I really don't mind the Drinky one at all. I think he's going to be a pretty good one. If you were to sell Grant though, you got Grant, Warbrick, AKP to cheese, Drinky, Penasini, JDB. It's okay, man, but I think because Grant's such a high scorer and he's the best in the position by far, I'd probably look to avoid doing that. So if you went Warb, Alamotti, AKP, I don't mind Bully, Drinky, Lem would work as well. Obviously, we're not sure how the minutes are going to be. So look, that's probably the best of a bad bunch. Like, if you could go cheese instead of Lemuelu if you wanted to. I think that would work for the cash. That's probably how I would look to play it. But I think in this team, you've got to hold on to Grant. With him just being such a better scorer than the rest of his counterparts. Let's go to the next one before we go to our first question. 1,000 overall, this man. Lost 500 ranks in the last 2 weeks. Damn. Traded Katoa to DeBellin, Murray to Robson, Blore to Smith. Thoughts? Don't really like the Murray trade out. Yes, it's going to help you out this week. And you got Haas as well, so I understand why. But if you're looking at your mids now, you're locking in Brandon Smith and Ford as a couple of your starters. Obviously, Haas will be back next week, but I don't think having those guys are going to be super strong for your mids. Where's DeBellin? Oh, he's in there as well. So, yeah, it feels a bit strange trading out Murray. I feel like I think you're reacting to that bad score that he just had. So I really think he's going to come out and dominate, and you might just have to go a different way. Unfortunately, I think for now, I probably personally wouldn't bring in Robson. You've got Tanner Boyd, who's doing a great job. You can slot him in. I don't think you need Harry and Robson as well as Boydie in that position. I really don't think that's the play. So maybe you can get rid of the Murray to Robson and just try and generate the cash a slightly different way. That's probably the way I would look at it, especially when you're playing Lemuelu in that edge position. You could pop 40 down there, but then that leaves you really short in the mids as well. So I think Robson's not the play. You have enough hookers and just can slot in Tanner Boyd this week. A lot of people that just have Grant, they're the ones in trouble, not you in that one. So let's go firstly to the questions. And number one here, who should I target for the buy period? This is a question that's coming up very regularly. So I would suggest, guys, just to check out the couple of videos that we've got there for you. So we've got Scoop, has his own channel now, which is really cool. So he's got 311 subscribers now. Get him up there. He's got a couple of videos this year on fantasy, and this is based around the buy period. So he's got the hookers in his first episode, and then he's got the mid-madness in the second one. So if you can go check those out, that will really help you. But second to that, we'd have our my videos here. And big shout out to all of you guys for watching. But it's so cool that I've hit 1K videos. It's actually a goal of mine for a while now. When I got to about 500-600, I was like, to have it say 1K would look pretty cool. So yeah, big thanks to all you guys for watching for the last, 3.5 years. But yeah, if you want to come down here, guys, the Ultimate Buy Planning, we've got a little bit over 5,000 views, which is really cool, but that's myself and Mark from the Fantasy Amateurs, and that goes through all of the options. We literally have a list of all the different players that are options in each team, and I get his advice on if you want to pick them up for the Origin buy period as well. And we discuss, who's going to be best for around 13, 14, all the way up to 16. There's a bunch of teams like that. Then there could be some that, you're good for 13 and all the minor buy rounds and stuff like that. So get around that one as well if you'd like to get your team sorted out heading into the buys. All right, let's go back to the squads. And our third one here, AKP is a definite sell. I think he's a sell, man. You don't have to if you can't, but obviously, yeah. I think he's a better sell than someone like Host, who's going to play in round 13 most likely. I think holding Host is the play. Worth holding Alamotti with a soft draw upcoming. Sure, these guys you can hold or sell, completely up to you in how it fits, but don't force sell them to someone that's going to not making money like they are at the moment. That's the play there. Is it worth selling Grant after a good score? I think Grant is likely a hold, especially when you got Tanner Boyd as cover there. Yeah, you don't have any other hookers, so if you traded Grant, would you go to Robson? Would you go to Cheese? Yeah, Cheese could be a play, but I don't really like that in that one. You're looking at those 3 trades there. Grant, just as I said in that previous one, trading him out when he's the best scorer in the position by far is really, really tough. The Haas one, they're both going to miss the same amount of games over the bye period now. Well, with Haas missing this game, he is obviously the clear best option in the mids, but there's so many guys that are averaging similar, whereas in the hooking position, there's not many guys. Like Boyd could be one of those guys that averages pretty well over the next bunch of weeks. Yeah, obviously Grant to Cheese gives you a lot of cash, but potentially if you go one of your other mid guys, like maybe it is you go Trent Leoro and use his cash instead, could be the play. You obviously don't want to be playing here Murdoch Masilla and these type of guys, so that's obviously something to think about as well, but I don't think trading Grant is the play. But if you want to, it's completely fine as well. If you're looking to trade Grant out in 13 anyway, then maybe you do that now and you just run with Boyd and the Cheese in that one. All right, let's go to the next question there. So this week, it's a very interesting one. We got some potential vestings from the Panthers players. It looks like it's Sorensen and potentially Cleary who are in trouble. So hopefully we're fine. And I'm still going to captain Cleary myself, I believe, unless we find out anything today. But make sure you set up your bench properly, for one, and also your vice captain. So make sure your vice captain is someone who's going to be scoring pretty high as well, whether that's someone from the first game, whether it's obviously Heinze would be the clear best captaincy, but guys like Robson, guys like Murray, guys like David Fafita, these are the kind of players you're looking at. Joey Manu should be solid overall. Those types of players would be the way to go, and make sure that is set properly, because if Cleary is out, you cannot move him, you cannot move the captaincy, and you'll need to have someone from your bench come in for his position. So make sure you have a half available. Hopefully you got some cover for that, but just make sure that you set all that up properly. And when I'm saying make sure your bench is set up properly, guys, whoever plays early on in the round, put them in your starting side. It doesn't matter if they're the best player, the worst player, whatever it is. If they're going to be in your 17, in the starting 13, and leave the interchange for late changes. Okay, that's the most important thing I can say. And if you can, as I said, if you can, each and every week, try to make sure that you don't, if you don't have to trade in that first game, no one in your squad is changed. Make sure you set your VC and your captaincy and set that there, and then make your trades after, especially if we find out more information. All right, so we'll go to the next team. I feel like a bit of a pickle with my team at the moment. What are your general thoughts on the squad? Could it be a sell based off how my team is? Yeah, that's the thing with Haas, with Grant, it's all situational based. And if you have multiple kind of hookers, then you could potentially trade out Grant. Like if you have Smith, Tanner, and also like Robson as well as Grant or something like that, then maybe use a trade out then if you need cash elsewhere. But Heinze is a great option, guys. If you want to go straight up to Heinze, then that would be an even better play, I'd say. I think Trent Leo is a hold if you can. I was thinking Katoa, Turbo, and Warbrick out. Yeah, I think Turbo's a sell, man. So Manu, Cheese, Drinky, lock it in. Done. That's it. Done. Perfect trades, man. Good stuff. Love it. All right, so let's go to our questions again. So we've got thoughts on Afoa, Sipley, Reynolds, and Lane. The guys I didn't talk about in that video with Scoop. We forgot to talk about them. But Sipley, interesting one. Obviously, 485k. Coming off 43 in a 45-minute game, so that's red flags already for him to be scoring that well. He's obviously great and he's getting involved in everything, but you do look at games in previous years, 43 minutes for 38, that's solid. We got 38, a 65, obviously with a try there, but 30, 36, some bigger minutes there for 43 minutes for 28 points. He gets a 44, 38, a 10 in 32 minutes. Obviously, there are games where he gets some attacking sets and does well, but at 45k, you need him to be averaging sort of in the 40s. And look, he probably can do that, but it's just such a risk. Like his minutes change week to week. Bullymore was playing on the edge position. Tuolangi comes back onto the edge, guys, and Bullymore comes back to the middle, and he's going to take a few of those minutes. So just be aware of that with Mr. Sipley. Let's go to Sean Lane now as well. 684k. He obviously has dropped a bit over the last few weeks. A 60 on the weekend was good, and very unlikely he plays Origin. So if you do need an edge or want an edge, he's obviously one of those guys that is a great selection for the bye period. So a break even in the 50s there is not something that he can't get. And they come up against the Knights, Titans, Canberra, and then the Bunnies from there. But the next 3 weeks, you'd imagine he's a good chance of picking up a try at some point. I'm hoping for a Dylan Brown to Sean Lane pass. Would be delightful there. So yeah, that's the general thoughts on Lane. I think he's going to be a good pickup. You saw what he did last year. He's very much like a 40s guy into an 80, and then to a 60, and then a couple in a row. So, and he's only done it for the 1 season. So it's up to you. I think there's obviously a little bit of a risk there that he's had 2 30s and then a 60, but he looked much better last week. Let's go to our next squad there again and talk about them. Any other thoughts? Currently ranked 5,000. Trades Eli Katoa plus host to Joey Manu and Brandon Smith. That does sound pretty good, to be fair. Who else would you look to trade out? Preston Hosking, Bird Manu, Miller, Teddy Walsh. That looks great. Katoa, Lem, Ford, Leoro. We got Russell. Could be your play, man. Is there any way you could do Alamotti instead? You got Russell, you got Talau to cover. You got Lemuelu. I would get rid of Alamotti before I would get rid of Host, because he plays at round 13 bye. That would be my general thought there, man. Alamotti and Ellie to Manu and Smith leaves a little bit extra in the bank, I think, too, which is good. So lock that in. All right, before we get into that one, let's look at our good man Bunty All right, so 383k. He's someone who has a little bit more potential, I think, than Sipley. At 383, it's 100k less. And obviously a couple of good games to round out, this one good game, especially to last week with the 56 minutes. There were just injuries in this game. So Tohu, him not playing big minutes. Tavanga played 70 the week before. So those 2 guys being out meant that he played more minutes in this game. And I think it will only be in this one. I expect him to go back to a 40-minute game, and potentially he does score you a 35 or 40. Does that happen weekly? No, for sure. Definitely not. Like, he's got games of 23 in 34 minutes. He's got 10 in 17. Yes, sometimes he exceeds that PPM. He's a 0.86 guy. So if he's a 40-minute guy in this team, which I think he will be, then he's sitting somewhere in the mid-30s, 34, 35, something like that, for his scoring. And is that enough? Look, it's going to make him a little bit of cash, but I think it's a big risk, and I just think there's other options. You could spend up a little bit more to go to Granville, something like that, who has a negative break even and would do a good job for you. And then Reynolds there, 220k. He's a funky one, and obviously a higher break even as well. So even if you brought him in this week, he's not really going to make you any money. I'd rather go for Buller over Reynolds, even though Buller is playing the Panthers, and I really think he's going to score pretty low this week. He might not, but I think I'd rather go for that. Looks like he has a little bit more job security, even in a poor Tigers team that chops and changes all the time. Reynolds could be chopped and changed as well. So Oluwapu is close by. Everyone's talking about him. He could sneak into this side on game day. There's so many things to think about. But 3 years ago in 2020, he was scoring sort of 20s and random 40 at the 5'8 position. He has games where he has 14 in 80 minutes, 16 in 80 minutes. So it's a bit of a worry, I think. So I personally wouldn't be going for him. But I understand why you're looking at him at 220 in the starting side for a Dogs team that's got a couple of easier games coming up. So that's that with him. Let's move to a couple more guys. First instance, we got Jamie. How's it going? I'm always scoring averagely. Kind of hopping on the cashies 1 round late. Yeah, it sucks. Might have to go for a Hail Mary or something that not many people are doing. I'm a head-to-head player, by the way. Well, don't worry about that if you're a head-to-head player. Obviously, just trying to win your head-to-head matchups is the goal each week, and getting the best squad. Obviously, getting those cash cows that are good, not the bad ones. Nicarima, thankfully, has made a little bit for you now. Couchman made a little bit last week as well, which is good. Isaiah Katoa, Medoc Priscilla making some cash. Blaw's the annoying one, obviously, but everyone else in your team, it's fine, man. Don't worry. Eli Katoa out, Alamotti and Murray or Haas out for Cotter, Fodawaka, for Noah Blake. See, if you're a Haas owner and a Murray owner as a head-to-head player, do not trade them. I'm sorry, but just don't trade them. Eli Katoa, I think, is a clear trade, man. It's a good one to go. I think Blory and Alamotti could be the go. And maybe you do go to a cheap guy in Buller, potentially. Would be able to get you up to like a Manu, which could be cool if you trade one of them down. You do need, so Manu coming in for Alamotti would be fun. And Buller, Cheapie, Brandon Smith. Yeah, cool. All right, I didn't read the second bit. So just get Eli Katoa, Alamotti, and Blore. I'd go Blore out for Manu, Smith, Buller. Yeah, done, man. That's it. Thank you for your love as well. Appreciate that. What do we got here? Last one, I believe. Yep, awesome. Revelo's Raptors. So he's 1,400 overall, which is lovely. kind of in the shit this week with all the outs. Obviously need a mid with Haas out, so you'd have no cover, do you? Well, that sucks. Okay, so that's hard. Can straight swap Katoa to JDB, Brandon Smith or McInnes. Tempted to trade out C&K because he always seems to get... Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like he's going to be out for a few weeks, so C&K would be the out. So could you go... JD... How much cash you got? 52k. Could you go JDB and Smith for C&K? If you can. That might be close, actually. 50 JDB up. Yeah, probably not, actually. Unless if you're a head-to-head player, you could probably go McInnes, but I'd probably avoid that. Smith might be just the initial trade in, and then Nickel Cookstar could try and go up a little bit, but it's a bit of a hard one. You don't want to get too many more cheapies in. I'm looking at your squad there, and you've got a lot of like 300, 400k guys, which is not ideal. Centers and wing fullbacks is set. Yeah, I think looking at Brandon Smith and or DeBellin, potentially Josh Curran, not really ideal. Yeah, there's a bunch of those awkwardy kind of players there that you could slot in, but yeah, I think that's probably it. Hey, it's a hard one to work that out, but at least one of those guys is going to work, and good luck for this week, everyone. I hope you do really well. I'll get my trades video out fairly soon, and Draft Stars out as well, so have a good one, guys. Thank you.